Therapist Headspace. And today I'm delighted to have with us Ruth Wood. Hi, Ruth.
Hello, how are you, Marilyn?
I'm good, and yourself?
Very well, thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me introduce you, Ruth. I mean, you've got an amazing career and amazing background. So you are a nutritionist who's been practicing since 2000.
Yes.
You've been working mental health and addiction as well as general practice. I understand you integrate science-backed nutrition theory and psychology into your practice. And you've worked as a consultant for the Priory Group, Promise, the Recovery Center, and others, as well as providing consultancy to large corporations in the film, TV, and music industry. How exciting. Um,
Yeah.
and then from 2015 to 2020, you've taken a very different role, creating a nutritional catering company, Crucial Food, that's been providing a healthy cafe in West London alongside food deliveries and events in the city. And you are continuing today to cater for deliveries and events, as well as writing your first book and also practicing regularly.
I am, yes, indeed.
You are a very busy lady. So I'm absolutely delighted to have you on this talk today. And I'm personally very fascinated by nutrition and the impact nutrition can have on how good it makes you feel. You know, when you have beautiful food, how it makes you feel happy and really this talk is aimed at therapists. And I think for therapists like myself, I'd like to understand a little bit more the correlation about between
Mhm.
nutrition and mental health. So can you explain to us one what kind of what nutrition has what kind of impact nutrition has on an individual mental health?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think from very early doors of not just studying nutrition. Before I was in the travel industry for a number of years before, but I'd always had just an interest in what food was doing. You know, I was played a lot of sport, and and I knew how that made me feel if I ate better. Everyone knows that if you eat better with round sport, for example, that you feel stronger, or you can run further, or be more powerful. And I think in more recent years it's become so much more apparent of the necessity to realize that the body is not two separate entities. It's not the body and the mind. They're very much joined together. And
Good.
for centuries, certainly in the Western world, we've thought that they're just thought of as two separate things, and they're very much not. The mind and body are not separate, and they're very strongly connected. And there's much more science-backed studies, and there has been for many years, to show the correlation between good nutrition and the importance of nutrition and brain health and mental health. And so it's not we're not just kind of looking at the general sort of physical health, but mental health and nutrition, it still needs a push. It still needs proof, and there's still people who don't understand it. And that's we all need to be educated in everything all the time, and so it's down to people who are trained in it, or who have a strong interest in it, or to keep that interest kind of bubbling along. But the brain needs a steady supply of energy,
Yes.
like the rest of our body. Yeah. So the brain needs a steady supply of energy. So macronutrients are the things that we all tend to know about, which are the carbohydrates, the fats, and the protein. But it's the micronutrients that are as equally, if not more important. So vitamins, minerals. So because they play such a big role in helping the fats, the carbohydrates, proteins all do their jobs. So the brain is 60% fat. So that's why we all go on about how important essential fats are, for mental health. There's a lot of studies done on omega-3s and, phospholipids and the importance of fats in the structure of the brain as well as the functioning of it. So that's kind of a key element that's kind of well documented. and you know, everyone's told to take their omega-3s and their Eskimo-3s, from something as simple as concentration right through to the benefits of it with Alzheimer's and depression, anxiety. And because it helps, the fats help with the reception and transmission of messages in the brain, because they're a part of our cell membrane, so a really critical part of our cell membrane. So, you know, it's that kind of thing that nutritionists, we're trained in, and that's the important thing about the educational side of it. So not everyone's going to know that and learn that necessarily, because they haven't got time, or they've got other jobs, or, you know, so it's up to everyone else to help that education.
That's really fascinating, and actually I try to have my omega-3 intake, and you know, take oily fish and eggs and things like that, and but you know, when you are a mental health therapist, whether you are a CBT practitioner or a counselor and all that, you don't have that nutritional background. And what kind of questions do you think we can ask as therapists when we are in the consultation room that can help us to understand? Because mental health will come from some different, you know, the origin of a mental health issue could have so different roots, so many different roots. But is it worth us understanding a little bit better, or the clients we're treating, the kind of the nutrition, the diet they've got? Will it help us, you think? Or
I
can
think
we
I
ask those
think
questions?
I think it's always good, obviously, for everyone to have knowledge, but I think there's a danger when you've got a crossover of profession there. It's good to have your basic knowledge, to be aware of, you know, to have sort of basic questions that you're going to ask your clients or your patients. That, you know, this is, you know, are you eating regularly? Do you drink a lot of alcohol? Do you drink a lot of caffeine? And having the knowledge of things that are detrimental and that are well documented and detrimental to
Yes.
mental health. So, and behavior and sleep deprivation and all those things that impact our mental health are, you know, those basic questions are very important, I think, for therapists to ask, to realize, with your complete then holistic treatment of someone, right, okay, this doesn't sound like they're eating properly, or they've got a poor diet, or they don't eat well. I'm going to refer them on to a nutritionist or a
Yes.
dietitian. Yeah,
Yes.
so
Yes, and absolutely, and that's the point, because we aren't qualified to advise on nutrition, but you know, is that is there a minimum amount of knowledge really, you know, that is good to
yeah,
have, that then say, okay, I think they need to speak to a
yeah.
nutritionist to help them, and then whatever approach I have combined with nutritionist might actually make the result even better.
Because, yeah, and I think because it's absolutely, it's getting that end result that's a thorough treatment for somebody,
Yes,
because otherwise it becomes disjointed, and it's not
totally.
that holistic treatment. So whether you're treating them with what the consultant's doing with medication, and then their behavior, their therapy and nutrition, you know, it's a whole package for everybody. And so some people might not do medication, some do, you know, but it's about working together. And I think we also have to be really careful with nutrition, because if you do the wrong thing, it's easy for people to become deficient, and it's also, there can be a lot of contraindications with medication, and you know, that kind of thing. So, you know, it's an important it's not a fluffy topic, you
No,
know.
absolutely, absolutely. And I think whichever profession you practice, it's about knowing your sphere of competence and knowing
That's
the
right.
limit. And you know, I would never personally advise someone on nutrition, because I'm not qualified, I'm not an expert in it. I've got an interest in it, but
Yes.
it's just, for me, it's also is understanding, okay, what can, you know, actually your intake of caffeine and your intake of
Yeah.
alcohol is a question to ask of always, but
Yeah.
understanding a little bit more about what kind of food they eat. So
Yeah.
you know, I remember working with someone who had become a vegan, but by being vegan, she was actually not taking enough protein in her diet. I could see that, but obviously I was not, you know, I'm not qualified to advise on the food. And I think,
And that's right, though, because for you to know that, and you know, if you go vegan, the biggest problem that we have as nutritionists is people are, like you say, protein deficient, iron deficient, B12 deficient, all the things that, you know, there's a lot of people who do it properly, and are balanced and are, you know, healthy with that. but there's also a large element of people who think that just by giving up animal products, that's fine, and it's not fine. You know, you have to really look at what you're eating and make sure that you do it, you know, measured, balanced, in a good way for yourself.
So do you work alongside a lot of other practitioners, having this holistic approach of, having kind of more mental health approach combined with nutrition yourself?
I do, I do, and a lot of that is I'm learning from you guys, and we all learn from each other. And because obviously I get asked questions in my consultations that are more for a therapist,
Yes.
and so I equally have to do the same thing. You know, be aware of how far I can take it, and then go, right, okay, this is for someone else who's trained in this and who's qualified
Yes.
to treat it.
Yes.
So I do, and what I do with a lot of people with nutrition, because people realise the importance of it. We have to eat to survive. So it's I train small groups of professionals on nutrition so that they have that basic, even more than basic knowledge on it, to be able to go, look, this is what can happen. For example, like you just brought up with a vegan diet. So this is what happens with a vegan diet, and this is what can happen if your digestion's not great. This is what can happen, if you're not sleeping. So I do different sort of sessions with professionals that go into a bit more depth and give you kind of a bit more of a tool to use in your treatment with the client or patient. Yeah.
And that was one of our questions actually. How do we become better educated as professionals to understand a little, without going beyond our sphere of competence, how do we become better educated? So obviously you're running courses for professionals, but I'm guessing you're running those courses. Do you run them online, or do you run them face to face, or?
I do them in various ways. We can do, I think face to face are quite good with now we can, which is a great thing. So, to do face to face, because, it gives more people an opportunity to ask questions. I find people it's more conducive to a better discussion,
Yes.
I think, because
Yes.
some people, people are different,
Totally,
in
totally.
situations. Yeah.
Yes, and I mean, some of the listeners watching this recording today would be away from London. So, what other tips would you give those people about how to learn and to become more educated around nutrition?
Well, there's a lot of good sort of basic nutrition books, or anatomy, biochemistry books on nutrition and what food actually does. The Zoom training sessions are good.
Yes.
I do one-on-ones with people who might have a really strong, even want to go and study it, who say, can I just do some sessions with you on what I need to know about mental health and how I'm going to help my patients. But because you look at things like protein, for example, neurotransmitters, which is such an important part of our mood and how we think and feel, they're made from amino acids, which comes from protein. So if we're not eating enough protein or eating poor quality protein, it has an impact on the whole picture, on the greater picture of our nutritional kind of status.
Yeah. Okay. So, and what was the best food to make you feel happy, would you say? Oh, is there?
I know a lot of
Don't say
people
the
would be going, a
glass
Mars bar, a box of chocolate. You need to, this is the whole thing with mental health and happy foods.
Yes.
They need to be a constant kind of feature in your diet. You can't just eat them for a day and go, oh God, I feel so much better. That's pretty obvious. So it's about things like good protein. So that would be coming from in an animal food based diet. Chicken's really good with tryptophan, turkey, eggs, full protein like tofu, tempeh, combining them, beans, getting good protein, oily fish or the nuts and seeds and all their good oils. So, and now that we're much more familiar, nuts and seeds used to terrify people. And obviously you've got the allergy issue with some people with that. But with nuts and seeds, we now, have cashew milk and cashew cream and all the different products that you can make from the nuts, and it's not just sitting there with a bag of cashews, being not the most exciting kind of thing to eat. So
Yes.
it's being creative with food. So nuts, seeds, all the good oils, good carbohydrate for the energy for the brain. So the whole food, brown rice, brown bread, whole wheat spaghetti, all those things that are more, give you a longer, more sustained supply of glucose to the brain.
Right.
Yeah.
That's great. Fascinating. Thank
It
you,
is.
Ruth.
It's a
Yes,
big
it's
topic.
fascinating. It's fascinating, and I do get it. When I say, so I come from the region of France where, and the organic food and really fresh food is really at the heart of how my family cooks. And I know when I go home, and my mum always puts these beautiful plates of colorful food, and there's that feeling makes you feel good. I think obviously there's a feeling as well of, eating together also probably has an impact, doesn't it? Like if you eat on your own, a takeaway or like a crisp, it's not, doesn't make you feel happy. But I can see the correlation, and it's very, very fascinating.
Well,
So
it is about lifestyle as well. I mean, you just hit on it there. It's about sitting down and enjoying it. It's about behavior. There's a lot of behavior
yes,
around food and
yes,
nutrition. You
yes,
know, taking time to eat it and taking time, it's all part of it.
yeah,
It's all,
absolutely. And the mindfulness around eating
yes,
is very powerful, isn't it?
it really is. And making sure that we chew and we, give the food the opportunity to actually get around the body, and when we sit and slow down and we eat at a table, it's much better than eating on the run, because the body can't use the food as efficiently. So
Yes.
it's all those sort of things have an impact on what we eat, and how we eat is as important as what we eat.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's
um
great.
mm,
Well, listen, thank you very much. This is really useful. So please comment on the video about any comments you may have that we can share with Ruth afterwards, but also about any other topics you would want us to discuss on this channel. And Ruth, thank you. When is your book being published? Have you got a date yet?
I'm working very hard on it at the moment. Yeah,
Okay, so
I had a month off, so I'm back on it. Yeah.
okay, so as soon as your book is published, we will be sharing that with our followers, and I look forward to reading it. I've been to your cafe. Your food is amazing, and
Oh,
and
thank you.
and and full of joy and happiness. So I'm sure the book will be too, and very educational for us as well. But thank you so much for your time, Ruth,
No
and
problem.
we see you all very soon. Thank
Great to
you.
chat to you. Thanks,
Thank
Marilyn.
you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.